Hello and welcome to Spanish Basics. In this module, I'll speak to you about expressing moods in Spanish. Here is a list of topics. We'll begin with an introduction to moods, then speak to mood definitions, then I'll get into the present subjunctive and the imperative moods, then I'll present the present perfect subjunctive followed by the imperfect subjunctive, and lastly the past perfect or the pluperfect subjunctive. Please note it would be really good for you if you would review Module 14 before you begin this module. Let's start with an introduction to moods. A tense in Spanish refers to when an action takes place. For example, Spanish has three simple tenses: past action, present action, future action. A mood in Spanish is used to express emotions, uncertainty, and to issue commands. Spanish has three moods: a subjunctive, an indicative, and an imperative. The conjugation of the verb used in expressing a mood is slightly altered to show the subjunctive and imperative moods. I'll be giving you examples of this in the slides that follow. Let's speak to mood definitions first. The subjunctive mood is used to talk about things that are not sure. This mood expresses doubts, conjectures, possibilities, hypothetical situations, desires, wishes, courtesy, and emotions. It is possible that John studies Spanish. Es posible que Juan estudie español. The subjunctive mood is expressed in dependent clauses, beginning with que. Now, the indicative mood is used to talk about things that are believed to be true or certain. This mood expresses facts, descriptions, and scheduled events. We express the thought as a fact because that is our perception, even if it is not necessarily true. For example, Anne studies Spanish. Ana estudia español. Note that this mood uses the regular conjugation of the verb. Now lastly, the imperative mood is used to tell someone to do something in a direct manner. Sentences in imperative mood are commands. For example, learn Spanish, estudia español. Note that the conjugation of estudiar is the same. I use the same for the subjunctive and the imperative mood. I'll explain this later. Now let's get into the uses of the present subjunctive mood in more detail. We use it when expressing doubt or uncertainty. For example, I doubt he will come. Dudo que él venga. I am not sure she is home. No estoy seguro de que ella esté en casa. We use it when expressing possibilities. It is possible we can win. Es posible que podamos ganar. We use it when expressing a wish, desire, hope, or a courtesy. For example, I want you to buy it. Quiero que lo compres. I hope he comes soon. Ojalá que venga pronto. I prefer that you wear it. Prefiero que te lo pongas. We use it when expressing emotion. I'm happy that you do it. Estoy feliz de que lo hagas. Notice que leaves the subjunctive part of the sentence, which is the dependent clause. The present subjunctive is used when the action is not past. Now, in this slide, I'll present the conjugation rules for this present subjunctive. Now, the rules for regular verbs and many irregular verbs are the same. First, drop the O of the yo form of the present tense. For the AR verb, add es, hemos, es, and en. For example, hablar, which is to speak. Let's begin with yo hablo. We drop the O, apply the rules, and we get hable, hables, hable, hablemos, hables, hable. For the ER and IR verbs, we do something similar. First, we drop the O of the yo form of the present tense. Then add a, as, a, amos, ais, an. We'll start with leer, to read. Yo leo. Apply the rules, and we get lea, leas, lea, leamos, leais, lean. Then there's escribir, to write. We'll start with yo escribo, apply the rules, and we get escriba, escribas, escriba, escribamos, escribáis, escriban. Then we go to tener, to have. We start with yo tengo, apply the rules, and we get tenga, tengas, tenga, tengamos, tengáis, tenga. Now for something a bit different, we have the irregular verb irse, which is to go away. We start with me voy, but look at how the conjugation is a bit different. Me vaya, te vayas, se vaya, nos vayamos, os vayáis, se vayan. Next, we'll switch you to the imperative mood, which is used to issue direct commands. Now, the imperative mood has its own conjugation rules. However, I'm going to focus here on the usage of usted and ustedes use. Now, specifically, use the subjunctive when expressing polite direct commands with usted and ustedes. For example, you read Lea usted. Write the book. Escriban ustedes el libro. Now, I've supplied the full conjugation of both these verbs for you on this page if you wish to go through it, but I would like you to focus on the usted and ustedes usage because that's going to be the dominant usage that you're going to find for this. Now, the usted and ustedes verb forms are used in both the affirmative and the negative commands. Use the tú and vosotros form of the imperative to issue informal direct commands, but only in affirmative commands. So let me explain with a couple of examples. First, go to John's house. Vete a la casa de Juan. That's an example of an affirmative informal command. Now, let's go to don't go to John's house. No te vayas a la casa de Juan. That's an example of a negative informal command. Now, once again, negative tú and vosotros commands require the use of the subjunctive. Now let's go to the imperative mood to issue indirect commands. These are commands that express in English that begin with let or have. Again, use a present subjunctive. For example, let's eat late, comamos tarde. Let's study, estudiemos. Let Carlos speak, que hable Carlos. Have him bring the rackets, que traiga las raquetas. As an alternative, let us can be expressed in Spanish by the following. Vamos a plus the infinitive. For example, let's eat late, vamos a comer tarde. Let's study, vamos a estudiar. Now here we'll begin a discussion on the present perfect subjunctive. Now use when the dependent clause action begins in the past but affects the present or future. In this case, the subjunctive mood is required in a dependent clause. Conjugate the verbs in a dependent clause with this structure. We start with haber in the present subjunctive and then plus the past participle of the action verb. Now the conjugation of haber in the present subjunctive is haya, hayas, haya, hayamos, hayas, hayan. Haber is translated as have or has. Let's give you some examples. I do not think you have seen this before. No pienso que hayas visto esto antes. He doubts that they have won. Duda que hayan ganado. I hope she has come. Espero que haya venido. We will have finished before they have eaten. Habremos terminado antes de que hayan comido. Now we'll switch to the imperfect subjunctive. This is the past tense use of the subjunctive. This tense has two sets of endings, either of which may be used. For all verbs, drop the ron ending of the third person plural of the preterite and add the following endings. Ra, ras, ra, ramos, rais, ran, or ses, ses, se, semos, seis, sen. Let's take, for example, the verb comer, which is to eat. We'll look at the third person plural in the preterite, which is comieron, and apply the rules. And we get comiera, comieras, comiera, comiéramos, comierais, comieran. Examples are, Anne wanted me to play with John. Ana quería que jugara con Juan. He hoped that Robert would study. Esperaba que Roberto estudiara. He counseled them to go quickly. Les aconsejó que se fueran rápidamente. It was necessary for us to leave early. Era necesario que nos fuéramos temprano. Now, this is the last subjunctive. It's the past perfect or pluperfect subjunctive. This mood is also a past tense, often used to express regrets. Conjugate the verbs in a dependent clause with this structure. Haber in the imperfect subjunctive plus the past participle of the action. The conjugation of haber in an imperfect subjunctive is hubiera, hubieras, hubiera, hubiéramos, hubieras, hubieran. Haber is translated as had. Examples. They had regretted that they had not come. Habían lamentado que no hubieran venido. She feared that he had come. Ella terminó que él hubiera venido. I was happy that John had arrived. Estaba feliz de que Juan hubiera llegado. I did not believe that I had passed the test. No creí que hubiera pasado el examen. At this point, we're the end of this module, but I'd like to give you a refrain or a proverb before you go. A buen hambre no hay pan duro. For a good appetite, there is no hard bread. Well, thank you for watching Spanish Basics. We hope you've enjoyed it. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.